ban, if you basically say, well, we're going to ban the triple X thing, obviously lots of companies won't be happy about it. They'll try to dodge to something else. And unless you enforce them to classify themselves, to announce their intentions, it's a bit like the joke, when you go to a person in the streets and you say, "Are you a terrorist?" And you say this thing. What do you expect them to say? Yes,
Yeah.
Is it like this is the check? Oh, or he say he's not a terrorist, so sure he's not. It's a bit like that with the XXX domain. Are you going to go on, side by side and trying to force them to move into a certain domain or a certain suffix? It probably won't work. I also think I think a certain sauce company is going to be very unhappy about having this. Probably want to get some monopoly on the. So
I don't. I mean, it's not a particular piece of news as groundbreaking to me. I don't think it'll make any difference whatsoever. I certainly do, though, think it'll be a new way for them to sell products to people. And I think it'll be a new way to exploit the internet in the sake of.
Well, who's made the decision to make these domains available? Because they could actually profit from it. Because more companies will have to buy. Because lots of people have to buy both the .com and the .org and the .net and everything else, and lots of companies do that. The info, and the more TLDs they have, they actually have added to the database, the more namespace they have. And if they have lots more namespace, basically people will have to buy more and more domains from them, and they do make some money out of that. It's a problematic situation, and in this case, it's.
I mean, what's very telling, and to show the scale of this whole industry, ICM said that more than 110,000 pre-reservations for .xxx domains were received last year, which is enormous when you consider that the thing hasn't been fully implemented. So it shows you the scope in which this is a massive market. But there you go. Moving on to more pleasant topics. A couple of new releases. Just looking down the DistroWatch release list. So we've got Mandriva Enterprise Server 5.2. That was released on the 18th yesterday, I believe. Got Zorinos 4 Business Edition, another Ubuntu-based distribution. This one appears to have a business edition which costs £7 or €7, I beg your pardon. Available in 32-bit and 64 variants. Linux Mint, version 10, LXDE version. Let's have a look, can't see anything.
Yeah, I have a list before me as well. All kinds of, the small ones too. There's Calculate Linux 11, Clonezilla, Linux. Did you hear about Linux before? They have a nice website. And lots of them don't even have an English site. You just go to the site and you just kind of try and guess by the screenshots what it's about and what it runs. But for the rest, the recovery is possible. Linux, it's the name of this. And Utoto, do you know Utoto? With Tuto, that's the one that Stallman used to brag about back in the days. I don't think he's using it anymore. I think he's using GNU-Sense now. But the new version of Ututo is out. I think it's Argentinian, and if you go to the site, they have a pretty impressive default theme, and it seems to be based in KDE now. Very liberal.
Well, I was just saying in your channel, in the TechBytes channel, in the last hour or so, that I'm certainly migrating or looking to migrate more towards KDE, whereas if I'd said that to myself a year ago, I would never have believed it. Yeah. So it is something I'm looking at. To be fair, I've tried GNU-Sense. I didn't try that other distro that you just mentioned, but I tried GNU-Sense many years ago. Wasn't overly impressed. I believe then it was based on Ubuntu 8.04, I think.
Based in Debian now.
Yeah, right. But I hadn't gone back to it for years. I never gave it another look.
Probably. You can get it without Mono now as well. That's been true since about a year and a half ago. They basically removed Mono, yeah.
Well, that's the reason in itself to give it a look. At the moment, I'm looking at GhostBSD, which is a slightly different line of inquiry for me. I used to do a lot of distro reviews, and recently I haven't had the time. But is it
2.0? 2.0, yeah.
Excuse me, yes.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon. Yeah, so I'm currently looking at that on one of my other machines. And I'm looking forward to hopefully another respin of Peppermint Ice, because at the moment I'm running Crunchbang on my netbook. So I'm having a look at that as well. So I'll have a review of sorts in the next few days, hopefully. Roy, have you got any other bits or pieces you want to bring up?
Well, Mandriva has just been out, and they had a kind of a screw up with the booting sequence. I think several people couldn't even boot the operating system, and they had to do a kind of an emergency, or what they call the kind of a core agenda for the ISO, and release a second. And of course, there is I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it Magia or the fork of
Yeah.
I don't want to try and pronounce it. It's a French name.
I'll say Magia.
Yeah, and for I think the first one to release the first beta this time was the fork of Mandriva, which is a reversal of the previous phase, and it kind of reminded me what happened with LibreOffice when they released version 3.3 just before OpenOffice 3.3 was released, and then the whole all the news sites were talking about LibreOffice 3.3 being out. And by the time Oracle released the sort of the real version of OpenOffice, nobody even paid attention. It was like old news.
Yeah.
And it seems like Mandriva could have the same type of trick kind of pulled on it. It probably will be interesting. One of the two developers that went from Mandriva to working for Red Hat and Fedora, he just had a tattoo, and it's the logo of Red Hat, the company. Which is interesting because this guy, to me, he still has a connotation with Mandriva. He was one of the main guys in Mandriva all these years, and he's just got a tattoo, and he posted a picture in his blog about how he's done that.
Well, the only other release of note that I wanted to very quickly mention is something I am going to be trying as well, hopefully next week. FreeBSD has got a third release candidate out, 8.0 RC3, and that's something I've been meaning for quite a long time to give a run, so I'm going to be giving that a go. And we can't leave out Ultimate Edition 2.9. A hefty size download if for a Linux distribution. It's roughly about 2.5 gigabytes of data, but I think we've covered Ultimate Edition before on the show. I'm sure one of the earlier shows we mentioned it, and it's available in all the flavors with KDE, also has GNOME, OpenBox, or XFCE environments. So that's something I do want to take a look at as well. It's one of the ones I've been promising myself always.
Is it still based on Ubuntu?
Yes, I believe it is. Let me just check. Yes, it is still. Yep, it is still based on Ubuntu. And that's version 2.9. So that was released on the 15th. So I'm a little bit late out the stable door with that one, but. Yeah, it will be something to have a look at.
The original name of the distro used to be, it was just, now it's called Ultimate Edition. It used to be Ubuntu Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
But as you know, Canonical became more strict with its trademarks, so they kind of went by one, especially with the big distros, and were trying to remove the Ubuntu, which is kind of I don't know if it's a questionable thing to do, but they didn't have to do that. They try to distinguish themselves from other companies and other people who are essentially doing to Ubuntu the very same thing Canonical was doing to Debian. And I always think, how can you keep a straight face in all kinds of... No, seriously though. How can they be very serious about things that they do, things that they say or do to other companies, which essentially do exactly the same thing as Canonical did? It's the same in general with sharing of code. Lots of companies are very, very happy to use the open source software that people wrote to them for free, and then to take their software and say, no, we don't have to share that. That's ours. But I mean, your whole thing is based on other people's work. Don't you feel like you need to at least consider making something available out of it, to keep the cycle going? But they don't have any qualms about it.
Isn't the word itself Ubuntu? Doesn't that mean freedom or something very similar to that?
Humanity to others. So
mate, that was it.
Yeah, you're supposed to kind of give and to share. So if you find somebody very thirsty coming to your village, you need to give them whatever is available, which they do fine with with the distribution itself. So they give you the code and give you everything else, which is fine. But I recently had some mixed feelings about what they did with this project called Unity, which